How are you? I'm in the nursery. I just uploaded my nursery tour, and I just find myself sitting in this room a lot, just contemplating. And so anyway, I have a super, traumatic story from this week. Something super scary happened to me, and I just want to share it with you guys because that's what this channel is all about. So, Wednesday morning, I was driving to work. I was stopped at a stop sign. There was a truck in front of me. He was stopped. I was behind him. I was stopped. And I'm just sitting there. It's 7:30 in the morning. I'm going to school. This is like a horrible story. So, I have my hot tea, because I drink hot tea in the morning. I have my hot tea down in the little cup holder, and I usually will eat some yogurt on the way to work. So I have, my little yogurt cup, and I'm just sitting there, totally stopped. 7:30 in the morning. It's school picture day, so I actually, spent some extra time doing some, extra makeup and hair. Sitting there, looking forward, and out of nowhere, bam, this car slams into me. And so, everything goes everywhere. My car, I have a small car, it's pushed forward into the truck in front of me. And I'm the first thing that goes through my head literally is, this cannot be happening to me. This cannot be happening to me. This is not reality. I did not just get in a wreck, right? Somebody did not just hit me. This is not reality. I am shaking. I am a nervous wreck. I have not been in a car wreck in over 10 years. And this is my first baby. And if you guys, I'm sure that you remember when you had your first kid, you're just so paranoid that something's gonna go wrong because you've never been through it before. And so you're just praying every day, God, please let me make it to birth. Please let me be lucky enough to actually get through this and have the baby here nice and safe in my arms. And so, you don't really know how this whole pregnancy thing works. And I actually spoke with a lady the other day at CVS. One of the cashiers was telling me this story about, she was 6.5 months pregnant and she got in a car wreck and lost her son. And so I'm about 6.5 months at this point, and after the first thing that goes through my mind of this did not just really happen, that starts going through my head. This is just too coincidental. This sounds like a car wreck. I'm 6.5 months, and it just that started going through my head. And so the lady that hit me opens my door, and she said, the sun was in my eyes, I couldn't see. I believe the lady. But I noticed at this point that I am pinned, my car is pinned between two cars. And once I noticed that, I'm okay, I literally am, my car is pinned between two cars. I just started freaking out. I was shaking. And of course, the first thing I do is I call my school. I'm a teacher. I'm going to have about 30 children sitting in my classroom in about 15-20 minutes, and I'm not there. And so I call my school, and I'm hey, I just got in a wreck. And I'm sure they could hear me. I was crying. I'm not even going to act like I was brave, because I was completely not brave in this moment. And so I called them, and I'm hey, I just got in a wreck. And I was I'll be there as soon as I can. I hang up, and then I'm thinking to myself 5 minutes later, what is wrong with you? You are not going to work. You're going to have to go to the hospital, And so I call my work back, and I'm hey, on second thought, just try to get me a sub, because I'm not going to make it. I know I'm going to have to go to the doctor and get myself checked out. So just call and get me a sub. And my work was wonderful. They were don't worry about anything. We hope you're safe. And so, I hang up with them. The lady that rear-ended me had already called the police, the non-emergency line or whatever, because we were all fine. I'm sore. I was really sore, and it hurt, but, nobody's airbags went off. or anything like that. And so we're waiting on the police to get there for like 30 minutes, and I call my husband, and he had literally just gotten off work. And so I call him, and I'm like, I was just in a wreck. And he's like, are you serious? And I'm like, yes. I was like, I'm okay, but I am freaking out, and I'm worried about the baby, and I just lose it. Like, I lose my beep. Like, I lose my crap. Like, I just start bawling. So anyway, we pull over. Mind you, there is like hot tea and yogurt everywhere in my car. Like, it looks like a bomb went off, because I don't know where anything went. Like, it just went flying. My lunch, I packed my lunch to go to school. It was like all over the floorboard. Like, my car literally looked like a bomb went off. And so we pull over into this church to kind of get out of traffic, and we're waiting on the cops. And we're there like 30 minutes, and the cop shows up, and while we're waiting on the cops, the lady that hit me is like, hey, you know, I gotta get to work. I gotta get my kids to school. Are you guys okay if we all just take pictures of the damage and exchange insurance information, and we're on our way? And the guy that she pushed me into, he didn't have any damage. He had a big old truck, and he was like, that's fine with me. And I was like, no, that's not okay with me. You know, we're going to wait for the police to get here. You know, the cops get there, and of course the cop like opens my door and sees that I'm like I'm a big old pregnant whale, you know, and he's like, oh my gosh, you know, wow, you're pregnant. And I'm like, yes, I'm very pregnant. And he was like, do you need an ambulance? And I said, no, I don't need an ambulance. I was like, my husband's on his way. He's an EMT. So I'm going to go to the hospital, and I'm going to get checked out, but I don't need an ambulance. He will take me. I'll be fine. So, you know, cop shows up. My husband shows up like, 3 minutes after the cops get there, because it took the cops a while. And he's I'm sure you guys have a person in your life that's like this. He is just like the calm waters to my storm. Like, as soon as he was there, he just got out of the car and just like came over and just like, bent down next to me, because I was sitting in my car, my door was open. He just kind of kneeled down and just kind of put his arm around me, and I just immediately felt so much calmer. Like, just so much calmer, like, okay, like the calm waters have arrived, because I was a nervous wreck. Poor guy, didn't even get to go home after he got off work, and he was supposed to be at his other job, so he calls in to them. So we had both called in at this point. It's like probably 8:30 in the morning at this point. So it's like an hour after it happened. And so we get home. I'm like trying to wipe yogurt out of my hair. And I've got like mascara all down my face. And I'm like, at that point, I'm like, okay, so this happened. What do I do? What do I do? Because if I wasn't pregnant, I probably would have just came home and taken a Tylenol and would have went to bed. But it's different. It's so different when you have a life inside of you that you're like, I know I'm okay, but I've got to know that this is okay. And so, my husband being an EMT, he's like, I'm sure that you're fine, but we need to go to the ER, and we need to make sure that the baby's okay. And so that's what we're gonna do. Me and my husband, we go to the hospital, we go to the ER, we tell them what happened, and they're like, okay, well, we'll admit you, but we gotta start out in the ER and make sure you're okay, and then we're gonna wheel you up to labor and delivery. Now, after I kind of calmed down a little bit, I was less worried about the baby being okay, because I know they're very protected in there. And it was probably safer in my stomach than if it was in a car seat, And so after I kind of got my bearings together a little bit, and I'm like sitting there with my little arm pressure cuff at the hospital, I started to become less worried about the baby being okay. And I just started thinking about the reality, like, this is the kind of stuff that sends your body into early labor. This sort of, shock to the body is what can start this, labor process earlier than, it should be. And so that kind of became my concern at that point. And, They took like a urine sample to make sure there wasn't blood in there, which I knew there wasn't. It wasn't that serious of a wreck. But when the lady hit me, the lap belt, I'm carrying, I think, kind of low, I guess. And so the lap belt of my seatbelt, like, cut into me and, like, lifted my stomach up as I went forward. You know, she sent me forward a good 2-3 feet. And so I was real sore underneath my belly, like lower abdomen. And so that was starting to concern me. And so since I got to the hospital a little later, they basically, I just laid in this little bed and, you know, we could hear the little baby's heartbeat and we could, you know, hear the baby moving. And it was really comforting. I think it was just really comforting to hear the heartbeat just, you know, chugging along like everything was fine. And the husband didn't leave my side. He sat there the whole time, and that poor guy didn't even get to make it home from being on shift for 24 hours. He hadn't eaten anything, and that man gets hangry. And I hadn't eaten anything because my breakfast exploded all over my car. And so we're both sitting there. You know, our adrenaline finally crashes, and you know, when, you know, something like that happens to you, you get this adrenaline rush, and then it crashes, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm done. So it was like 12:30 or 1 by the time we got released from the hospital. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, I am starving. I don't care what's healthy. I want some McDonald's. And so we like went to McDonald's. We went straight from the hospital to McDonald's, and I had like nuggets and fries and a cheeseburger. Like, again, please don't chastise me. I know that's not the healthiest thing, but I was like ravenous hungry, and I was like, that is the closest restaurant. Like, I need a Happy Meal to make me happy, because I'm not a happy camper. And so I saved my little, I have it right here in the baby dresser. I saved my little hospital bracelet, and that could be like a scrapbook thing. It helped us think of a middle name. We're thinking our middle name is going to be Suerte, which is lucky in Spanish. And so, yeah, it was just crazy. And yeah, we came home and we sat on the couch and we did not leave the couch. Like, the rest of the day, it was couch, because, like I said, our adrenaline, like, just crashed. We were just like, we're done. Like, we are done with today. And so I'm still kind of sore. I'm still kind of paranoid, but my car is, like, pretty messed up. And come to find out, the lady's insurance was phony. So no wonder she was trying to leave the scene. No insurance. It's all gonna fall on us. So again, it's like, let's drop a financial crisis on you and a big ER bill. Which I have insurance, but I don't know how big this bill is gonna be. I've never had to go to the ER like this, so I really don't know. And I'm just like, you know, great. Like, this is fantastic. This is really what we need. An ER bill, a messed up car, a car repair bill, you know, 3 months before we have an infant. But those negative thoughts kind of started going through my head, and I'm like, you know what? Could have been so much worse. It could have been so much worse. I could have lost the baby. You know, I could have been seriously injured. Could have sent me into some early labor. I mean, it could have been so much worse than it was. So it just kind of puts things into perspective that even when it storms, I'm still lucky. And then the next day I went back to work, and the kids were so cute. Let's go back to work, and we had to go on a field trip where we were walking like these trails outside, and I'm like sore, and the first couple steps up, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I can do this. But then the trail like was, you know, flat, and then I was fine. But the kids were so cute. This one girl in my class was like, I'll take care of you today. I'm gonna make sure that you're okay today. And I'm telling you what, that little 10-year-old angel did not leave my side. Let me tell you what, that girl was taking care of her teacher, and it was like the most precious thing. It was so sweet. And so yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys my crazy story. Car wreck, 6.5 months pregnant, ER visit, uninsured motorist. That's the gist of my week. So there's your 29 weeks pregnant update. Woo! Okay. Good night, guys. I will see you later. Bye.